Okay. Welcome back. Chaos Conversation. Let's go.
Back in the building. Taco Tuesday, Terrific Tuesday, whatever Tuesday you want to call it, we here. Yes,
Tacos. I like tacos. So we can stick with tacos. That's probably the
Hey,
best.
hey, man. Hey, you know the deal about that, man. What y'all weekend been like, man? 'Cause mine was great, man. Even though we had some rainy weather here on the East Coast of North Carolina, it was still all right.
Yeah, in the Carolinas, there was a lot of rain in the southeast. It was beautiful all over the rest. Pretty much the rest of the country was pretty beautiful, and we were stuck with
Yeah.
rain and 60 degrees for 3 or 4 days. So, but it was good. You made the best of what you have, and enjoy the holiday
Hey,
and be thankful and say prayers for all those that lost their lives.
sacrifice their lives, man. You know
Sacrificing for this
this.
this for the government.
Yeah.
So we
I don't celebrate these
we honor
holidays
them.
anymore, but it was for most of y'all. You all like to celebrate Memorial Day weekend, so peace, more power to the families of those who serve their time for this country and much more. I mean,
Paid made the ultimate sacrifice.
hey, I mean, like I said, I don't celebrate holidays, but because they have this day, the only thing I say is without all this military, services from Marines, Navies, Army, Air Force, if this country,
Coast Guard. Don't forget the Coast Guard.
yeah, them too. If this country, if terrorists ever came over here from other countries, man, we wouldn't know what to do without them. So,
What do you mean, if terrorists? We got a lot of terrorists sitting right here.
oh, that's true. I mean, let's not get politics started, man. But I'm just saying, I mean, if they came over here, wanting to start a war if they came over here wanting to start a war with us, and we ain't have our, people who are serving their time as they are, we wouldn't know what to do. So,
Yeah, I mean, you always need a military. Militaries around the world serve different purposes, and we won't get into all that, but we do thank people for their service, especially those who made the ultimate sacrifice, including one of our boys that got killed in Afghanistan when everything first popped off,
who was
and
there?
they named the park after CJ.
CJ.
So yeah, we you got to remember those that made that choice to make that move, and their life was ended in service of their nation.
And being this is Chaos Conversation, we're gonna let y'all know the services are a good spot for you to meet a mate at as well. We ain't gonna mention no names, but we know about two of them up there. For two of them.
I know a lot more than that. I know a lot more than that.
I mean, I was on the show. Yeah, man. And one thing we're gonna do, or one thing I'm gonna do, man, because a lot of y'all be asking me and messaging me and texting me, for those of y'all who got my number, like, why should we even listen to you because of this, because of that? And one thing I am gonna do in these next few minutes, I'm gonna let y'all for yourselves. I'm gonna let y'all hear an audio of a call that I did with someone where they're actually asking me for relationship advice of what they should do with this guy she met online. Anything else you're trying to say, Sam? Before I roll the tape, man, roll the clip on.
Woo! I think everyone's looking forward to that. I know you were
talking about last week.
You brought that up last week, or a few weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so we finally have something that's tangible that you can play for. So I think everyone's looking forward to hearing and seeing more about that.
Let me know if y'all can hear this. Just comment in the chat, or thumbs up, whatever you guys can do. If you guys can hear this loud and clear. Hold on. Now this. I'm not going to mention the young lady's name, but these are the kind of calls I get when one wants advice on what to do because they have an awkward situation.
Okay. Well, was there any context, or are you just going to start? What was she called you and asked a question, or was there a topic at hand?
Well, her main thing is, I'm going to say this. She's older than he is. By double digits, too. I'm not going to say how old, but she's old. And she met him online, and she wants to know that I'm not going to let the call go that far, but she called saying, what should I do with him? Being he's this much younger, and I can't commit to him because he has this mental illness, and he's younger than I am. The call doesn't go out that far, but you'll hear me. One thing you will hear is that I ask questions to make sure I have a clear understanding. I give her a little bit of compliment on what she's done so far, because we've talked about this before, and this is just the kind of calls we get. We get when people ask us about, hey, this situation, that situation, And you guys think I be lying. So I'm gonna let y'all see, and he will hear for yourselves what these sound like. Y'all ready? Because this tape is rolling in 1, 2, 3. Let me know if you can hear it.
Okay, yeah. What was your question again?
Okay, so I hadn't talked to him in 6 weeks because I remember I was telling you that I was going to train him how to treat somebody, right?
You said you haven't talked to who?
I hadn't talked to Naheem. Remember the one I said is the narcissist.
Okay.
I hadn't talked to him in 6 weeks, okay? And then
that was a good move. Okay.
Yeah. So then last Sunday, actually Saturday night, he sent me a text message and he said, did you get my message? And that was 6 weeks prior when I didn't answer his phone call or answer his text. Mm-hmm. And he had just hit me up all of a sudden last Saturday. It's Saturday night. I said, did you get my message? And I didn't respond. Mm-hmm. But the very next day, on a Sunday, I did respond. I said, I got it now. And he said, oh, so you didn't receive it back then? And I said, like I said, I got it now. Anyway, he asked me, he said, can I call you? And I said, I guess I have no problem with you calling me, because he asked me, can I call him? And I said, you can call me if you like. I have no problem with you calling me. So he said, I guess he did call me. I didn't hear my phone, and he said, I just did. He messaged me back and said, I did. And anyway, I ended up calling him back. So anyway, we started talking, on terms or whatever. Anyway, yesterday, but he wanted, I guess, dig deeper, like take it outside of a friendship. I'm like, oh no. It's just
that's just a little clip. I ain't show y'all. Let y'all hear everything that went on. That's just a little clip of the kind of calls I get when people who know me, people around me, people who hear me, people who see me in public will ask me any kind of question about this, about that, because they've heard me talk about it in the future. Now, I'm not going to go in detail because the call went on for like a good 30 minutes. So I'm not going to, take up the whole show with that. But Sam, now, I didn't get a chance to let y'all hear the advice I gave her. But my thing was, you're dealing with this. He's a young man. He's a male figure for one. She says he's a narcissist. I'm like, okay, in previous conversations we've been in, I had to ask her, how do you know that? What research have you done on him to see if he really is one? And so I was telling her things to be on the lookout for. I'm like, you're older, he's younger. If he is a narcissist, as you say he is, here's some things to look at. I mean, it's just advice on things to do, look out for, not do. Like I'm the one who told her to not even mess with him anymore, like put him on suspension from you because of the way she told me he was acting. And he's only in his mid-20s. So I'm not mentioning how old she is, but she is older than him. So, but see, ladies and gents, I just want y'all to hear that because that's the kind of calls I get.
Now, what was your advice?
From that call there, my advice to her was, you already opened the door for him. I mean, this wasn't really advice. This is already telling her, since you already opened the door, the best thing you can do is kind of close the door and the best thing I thought she could do is leave the screen door open, but kind of still have a wall up, still keep him at distance, and don't make him feel or think that he can move forward with you if he's acting or still talking to you with no respect and still feeling he can control you, or because she's on some game online with him or something like that. I said, the more you keep messing with him in different ways, he's going to keep thinking he can control you in one way or another, if what you're telling me is true.
Right.
So I'm just like, listen, you got to keep him at bay. But since you already opened this door and called him back and let him call you, that's control, because he felt like he can, all I got to do to get her to call me, all I got to do is text her or have her pick up my call, or I have to do this. And see, it's like to people like him, the way she was telling me he functions, I was like, you already opened the door. It's too late now. When you answered his call, when you responded to him, any form of communication, that's when you open the door back to him. Because she just said on the call that she had, distanced him for a good while.
Okay.
So I'm like, yeah, you already did that. So the best thing you can do is prepare yourself for the worst case scenario, but also continue to keep him at bay. Continue to, not take his calls or even respond to his texts, because the more you do, he's going to think he has a chance of, being with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why she's
entertaining
these games if I think people entertain these things way too long, considering the fact that considering what they really want and what they bring to the table. I just think they entertain nonsense too much. You know,
it's one of those games like a some kind of Candy Crush game, but it's online. It's like all parties can play with each other, against each other. You know, it's one of those games you have on your smartphone that, you know, and you just make up a character and you make up a name, and that's what she says she met him at. And then, you know, one thing led to another. That's probably on like the 8th to 10th conversation we've had about him. But she didn't, you know, right. It's just situations like that. You know, like I say, me and Sam, we deal with, I can say every day, but at least, you know, a few times a month. So, you know, the advice we giving is that's just what it is. It's advice. It's not counseling as in, you know, anything like that. Because normally with counseling, you and your partner or you and your mate both of y'all go to counseling, not just one of y'all.
Right. No, very true.
Yeah. So I wanted to let y'all know that's some of what we be dealing with right there. Okay. In the meantime,
yeah, let's go ahead and let's go ahead and jump right into the topic at hand today.
Let's do that, man. Let's do that because this is hold on one second here. These topics that we talk about are what we normally hear about or go through on the daily. Sometimes, you know, every other week. It ain't like it's you know, it's not like it's our job. But let's just say it's a hobby we take with. It's a hobby we don't play with. I don't play with because it's life we're talking about. You know what I mean? But this was the topic right here was. This was a conversation at when I was at lunch. Was when a man or woman, when y'all with somebody, and this man or woman, why can I not satisfy him or her? And I have presented to him or her whatever it is he or she has asked for. And why does this person not appreciate me? Why does this person change or trip later on in the relationship? Now, this is even while dating. This is while you're committed, or even, well, it's not quite while you're married because it's, you know, you're still dating, you're still getting to know the person. Or even if you are married, you've been married for a short period of time. And it's like, hey, my man wants this, my woman wants that, but why he or she acting this way? And I've already given him or her what he or she has asked for. So
you asked like 3 questions within that one question. So essentially, are you asking?
That's what the conversation.
The question of the topic is why is someone in a relationship and then they change things up all of a sudden, or they change the way they handle things?
They become unhappy. Why do people become unhappy after you show them or give them what they ask for? That's basically what they conversation about. So I'm like this, people, and check it out. I think I've said this before in the past, and this is something I think all people need to take in consideration: is be your daggum self, man. Don't try to be what the other person wants you to be, because when you try to act a certain way for a person, they can tell how fake that is. They can tell it's not really you. That's why they like, all right, I'll do something else. They'll make me happy. I'll do something else, because you basically have to be yourself. You can't act or have any game, swag, facade. You have to be yourself, and it has to be who you are. The minute you start acting, it's like an animal, like a child. They can sense what's really you and what's not really you. That's why he or she be tripping down the line. What do you think about that, Sam? Have you experienced that?
I mean, I think everybody has, right? The longer you're in a relationship, the longer things change, people grow. You know, people grow and change how they view things and see the world and see different things, you know. So I think, you know, I mean, I mean, you can't name somebody that hasn't experienced this, right? Now, to the degree that they change things up, you know, that's what it depends on, right? But I think a lot of people, especially those people that ignore those red flags because they have their eyes wide open like this, and they're like, oh, you know, this person is a unicorn. They do this, they do that, they do this. Well, guess what? That was just the dating phase. Then you get into committed relationship phase where you have the everyday things you have to do constantly. And sometimes, you know, people revert back to their old selves because they were never that person that they were leading you to believe. So they revert back, or like you said, or the comment or the topic, like you say, maybe they've evolved, they've changed, they've grown. but they did not communicate with you along the way, right? Or you guys didn't communicate together along the way. So now they're kind of a different person and they have different wants and needs than they did, let's say 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you know?
There you go. There you go. And then also, this is one thing. I'm gonna speak to the ladies for a second. All right, ladies, check it out. When you start dating a man and you talk to him on the phone, you communicate, you're around him, and all that good. You're starting to get to know him, and he tells you he likes something as easy as he likes to go out and eat just any day. It don't have to be any special weekend, any special holiday, his birthday. He likes to just go out and eat once a week. Now, if he tells you that, and during the time you guys are dating and talking, trust me, it doesn't matter if you stick to that and you take him, if you guys go out to eat once a week, as he has mentioned to you, he likes to do. It's like he can sense the energy. And if the energy is not there, that you're going out with him because you want to have fun, you want to enjoy time with him, you want to enjoy the food, and you want to enjoy the moment, trust me, he's going to be able to feel that energy and emotion after a while. And you can't just be doing it because he wants to, and it's just, hey, Thursday of the week. It has to be who you are. You have to want to go out and,
Be right back.
And do that. You have to want to do what he likes to do. And that's why you've heard me say in the past, for men and women, you guys have to take time and kind of what I call it. This is what I mean. You guys have to take time, just grab a pen. Oh, that ain't gonna work there. Yeah, well, just take time, grab a pen, and you gotta do a little simple T-cross. And you gotta put the things you want on one side and the things you deserve on the other. That's really all. And then after you do that, you have to be patient and wait for a man or woman who presents themselves and can apply those things that you deserve in a relationship without you even asking, without you even bringing it to their attention. You probably can give them a couple of hints here and there, but when you give them a hint, it's like, all right, you ain't got to keep saying it every other conversations you have. Just say it, give him or her a little hint and let them apply. See what they apply. See if they, like me, I'm somebody, I don't like giving a woman a gift just on her birthday, just on Valentine's. I don't celebrate holidays like that. I don't like giving her no gift. I like giving a woman a gift on any day, just cause. Yeah, I wouldn't care if it was like today. And I was like, hey, I'm gonna give this. If I was talking to a woman now, just give her a gift, a little small gift based on how far we are in the relationship. Just give her a gift for no reason because it's her or it's him. But I think a lot of people, when you all are waiting for, if a man says, hey, if a woman says she likes that, and the man starts to do it just to please her, but that's not who he is. He's not a flower buying person, and she'll be able to sense that after a while. She will, and don't ask me how, but she will. And then he's gonna sit there and wonder, well, why is she taking it from some other dude? Then why is she, doing this? Why is she tripping? Why is that? You got to do it from the heart. It has to be who you are. If it's not who you are, that's why people put on their facades. They put on game and swag, and the next thing you know, it's like the energy starts to die, and it's not the same anymore. So that's why he or she will move on, or sometimes just tell you, hey, this ain't working.
No, definitely. It's definitely true, man. I'm not gonna lie.
It's the energy that you apply with it. When I say it has to be who you are, that's why you tell people don't try to change yourself to please a person, because it might work up front, but it's not going to work in the long haul. That energy is going to die down. Just like I don't care if it's a Duracell or Energizer Bunny. That energy is going to die down eventually. You know what I mean? And people just tell you, hey, I'm not happy no more, because you have to be yourself. And when you fake who you are, with that game, swag, facade, whatever you do, whatever you put on to satisfy a man, satisfy a woman. There are times I've known, I spoke with a group of guys, and I spoke with a group of women before. The men, they were like, well, man, okay, why'd your relationship go like this? Or what happened? Blase, blase. And I'm not gonna name the guy either, but he was like, dude, the simple things mattered most to me, because he believed in being the breadwinner, the man of the household, and he was old school. And I don't think the small things that mattered to him was his backwood when he came home from work, or at least dinner ready. Here's the money to go buy the groceries. He liked the small stuff. I'm like, small stuff like what? He's like, well, dude, small stuff as in just hearing, I love you at least once a week. But see, it was the small stuff to him. He didn't really need his woman to be his woman at the time. But he said could do anything she wanted to do because he had it. He was the man of the household. But he was like the small things. I'll go ahead and say she be slacking on. And I said, okay, well.
That sounds like they were not speaking. They were not speaking each other's, what do they call it? Love language.
There you go. Yeah. Well, to him, he was speaking hers, but she was falling. She was what's the one? She was fading from applying his.
Right.
But he was doing like he said, "All right, dude." You know, I was like, "Well, what do you do for her?" That she like, hey man, she likes her feet rub. I'll do that for her. She likes to do spontaneous events, and I'll go ahead and have my mom or have her mom watch the kids for us because they had kids together, and I'll take her out to a daggum Panther game.
Right.
Because she is a sport. So see, he was being spontaneous. He was doing anything that she liked, you know, and it was for no reason. Because he was almost like me. He liked it done just cause. You know, hey, I work hard. Hey, you know, I'm here for you. Why can't you be there? But it was just for him. It was the small things. It wasn't like, you know, I take care of 50% of the bill. You take care of that bill. It wasn't about the bills or the materialistic stuff. It was more about. And I said, well, dude, and he was another example. I hadn't spoken with him in a couple of years, but he's another example of the simple things, respect level of your mate and communication. And
right.
At the same time, I said his girl sounded like she was one of those who just acted the way he wanted her to act until, as he say, she trapped me with the kids. I'm like, hey man, I'm not gonna quite buy that excuse, man, because that was both of y'all there too. I won't just her. Yeah, man.
Oh, that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah, now, ladies and gents, I mean, if you like to, hey, if you disagree or you agree, it don't matter. Still like, subscribe, comment, and share, because that topic I was touching on, that's something a lot of people wonder, man. Why is my commitment? Why is my marriage falling apart? Why is he tripping? Why is she acting that way? You got to be who you are. You cannot.
Yeah, you definitely have to be. And I mean, people, like you said, I mean, people, it's almost like those dates when you go on a first date and the person is trying way too hard, right?
Yep.
And you can kind of read between the lines and say, okay, this, it seems like everything's too perfect. Everything's too manicured. This person has the right answer. They have the perfect answer for everything. They have the right, everything's for the right moment. Because those are the people they're trying way too hard. And why are you trying so hard? Why are you trying to overcompensate for something that's really going on and what you're really about? You know what I mean? Because once you have those real conversations and you catch someone off guard, we've talked about it on this show before. Once you can surprise somebody or catch them off guard and their true colors come out, then you can get to understand who a person is, or maybe when they're angry or drunk or something like that, or whatever. They see those true emotions, true colors, and sometimes you can make a decision off of that. But like they say, a person in the time of crisis or a time of anger or situations like that, or tense situations, their true colors typically come out. And you have to pay attention to those things. You can't just ignore it and throw it, set it aside and say, oh, they were just angry. Oh, they were drunk. Oh, they were, whatever. Those are signs. That's who that person really is. So you can't ignore that and then get mad 10 years later when you chose to ignore those things, and now it's popping, it's rearing its head again, a few years later,
It's like you said, there's all those flags on the play. And when you guys see the flags on the play, y'all have to be, you have to, and a lot of people don't even want to pick up the flag because they're enjoying so much who they're with or what they're hearing or what they're seeing, that the flag on the plate don't mean nothing to them. And that's something you can't blame you can't keep blaming the other party for. It's something you have to take responsibility for on your own. And I'll give you guys one prime example of just be yourself. There was a time I took a young lady to the TGI Fridays off of Wake Forest Road back when they served cheesecake back in the day. So this was way back when. This is who I am, and they know me there because I would go there, and then I remember Reggie's tell when he used to work at the bar before he became the manager. He used to call me the Cheesecake Monster because I used to go there, get a cheesecake when it was $4.52, a cup of water because I was between work or whatever, or on a quick break. And then I would do stuff like I would take the napkin holder
Okay.
and I just leave an entire $40 there. And my meal only costs like $25.99. And then one time, the first time I did it, and this is who I am, and I was by myself at the time. First time I did it, it shocked them. They're like, "Hey man, you ain't paid, did you?" I'm like, "Hey dude, check the napkins." And like, "What about the check?" I said, "Keep it, dude." So they knew the kind of stuff I did there. But then when I took a woman there and I did the same thing, it almost freaked her out. Like, dude, we even pay. Like, hey, don't worry about it. No, I can't be with you acting like that. Like, man, don't worry about it. See, that's who I am, though. That's just the way I roll. But to her, it was a bit of a surprise because to her, she didn't see me pay. She didn't see me tip. She didn't see, but see, I took care of it. It was just a way she wasn't used to, but it's who I am. And listening to her, I didn't think she would freak out like that. But all she does, and luckily, I'm not sure who she spoke with. I kind of stayed where I was, and I let her go back. We were barely like 4 steps from the door, and she went back. And I guess whoever she asked knew me. I might have done it to her before, as far as she may have talked to a waitress that I've done it to before. I just left her a whole tip. Hey, what's that? It's under my plate. You know what I mean? Well, no one else can get to it. Oh, okay. So I'm not sure who she spoke with, but my date was like, that's a bit too much for me. I'm like, okay. But see, that's who I am, though. But at the same time, she said she likes surprises, but that was too big of a surprise. And it wasn't even really for her. I mean, because we just got to eat. I mean, I ain't gonna sit there and I mean, but she didn't. What surprised me though was she didn't catch on to the fact that how many waitresses and waiters and even the owner at the time, not the owner, the manager at the time. I said, "Hey, what's up, man?" I think his name was Tom. Hey, what's up, Tom? And she didn't even catch on to that stuff. So it was my fault. It was my fault for surprising her that way because I didn't catch on to the fact that she wasn't catching on that I knew people there, that I was like a fan there. So when I did that, but that was a sign of, I listened to her conversation on the phone. I listened to her as we were talking. And it's stuff like that sometimes can give people the wrong impression of you. And but to me, that was a flag because she freaked out. That's not why we stopped hanging out. It's just, hey, that's just an example of flags on the play, being who you are, and trying to blend in with who you're trying to be with. And she says to her, she's, I remember, I'm not gonna mention her name either, but she was more of a high maintenance young lady.
Right.
She was business minded. She was a realtor at that too. So she had, and then during this time season, this is right around the time the housing market hadn't crashed just yet, but it was around that time frame. So it's times like that, man. You just got to be yourself and don't try to please everybody. That's the biggest mistake I think a lot of us make, is we all try to please everybody. Do this for him. Do that.
No, I mean, you can't appease everyone, You can only do what you can do. And the reality is, I mean, if you're dating is one thing. I think if you're in a committed relationship, yeah, you should be trying to, I won't say please constantly, but yeah, I mean, you should be trying to make the other person happy, right? To a certain extent, but you should be trying to do your best there. But going out of your way, constantly being a simp and bowing down on your knees, begging this female for attention, I don't think you should do that. But I think you should do things for each other. I mean, you're in a relationship after all, right?
Yeah.
And it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. So each other, that like we always talk about, right? That communication is key, back and forth, and you have to know. I'll harp on that love languages, right? The young lady when you played the messages before, clearly their love language, they don't know each other's love languages because they're not at that level yet. But if they were to get to that level, that is something that is important, right? Whether it be gifts, words of affirmation, physical touch, just quality time together. Those things are important, because if you don't know what your partner really needs and what they want, that's a problem. Because if they, let's say, like you said, let's say you are a person that you enjoy quality time, but then the other person, their love language is, let's say, physical touch, but you're kind of, let's say you're not a physical touch type of person, and that person's, what makes them happy is physical touch, that might be a problem,
There you go. And see, but it's always based on you guys' mature level. Everybody matures different. People in their teens think, react different than those in their 20s. People in their 20s different think and react those in their 30s and 40s, so forth and so on. So, and I'm gonna give you guys another example of people I interviewed. This old couple. Matter of fact, I saw him today too. I saw him today, and when I stopped them and interviewed them before, they were like, again, you guys may have heard me say this before. They're in their 50 plus, and they've known each other, but his wife died, so then she finally decided, hey, I'll step forward now because she respected his marriage the whole time he was married. So now, but ever since they've been talking to each other, and his wife has passed away, he sends her. They're old school. They don't do text. They don't do email. He does letters. And I asked him. I said, well, I asked him before. I said, how do you know that she liked the letters? He's like, because she would always tell me that she liked them. Now, when a woman or a man is telling you something like that he or she likes it, then obviously he does. Now, when they don't even bring it up, or you can't feel or read their energy that they really appreciate. Oh, I really love that. And when the energy starts to it's not all there. That can be a sign of flag right there. I mean, but sending letters to her, she liked letters. They were just $1 cards from the dollar store, Family Dollar. She said, but I didn't care. It was the message. It was the message that they had on it that she appreciated. But she's old school. They old school now, so
the little things. Okay.
Yeah, like things like that. A rose, a flower, something simple through the mail. I mean, they got what is it called, flower.com now that delivers and stuff like that. But he was old school.
Flowers, yeah.
Yeah, he would send letters for no reason. He would send letters just because. He would send flowers. He would drop off flowers, he told me, when he knew that she wasn't home, and stuff like that. And so, but it's about knowing who you're with, and like I said, just being able to know who you are and always be yourself. I mean, that's one thing. That's why game, swag, and facade is never going to be me, because to me that's faking who you are to get what you want, and I ain't gonna bother with it. I mean, that's why another reason why divorce rate is so high, because people fake who they are too much, sometimes too long.
Yeah, people aren't honest with themselves, and the reality is, I think most people, and I've been through this phase as well. I can admit that most people these days, due to our environment, social media, all these other things, and just the way of our world and our culture in the U.S. today, I would say most people are selfish, right?
Yeah.
And most people don't have the patience. I think people treat marriages today, a lot of people, not everyone, but I think a lot of people treat marriages like a relationship, right? So they don't really, it's not that old school mentality where it's like you get married and you're supposed to be with this person regardless if they beat your ass or not, or do you wrong and have another family over here. Wives are expected to still stay, So it's not like that today. And it shouldn't be, right? People shouldn't, treat each other bad and be required to stay, in quotes, due to society's social norms. But also, we have a lot more freedom today. People can do what they want. People treat marriage almost like dating, right? They're in and out, doesn't go right, argument, I don't like this, boom, I'm done. And that's why I've always been a firm believer that I think before you marry someone, you should understand how they live. It doesn't mean you necessarily should move in with them and live with them, but I think you should at least spend some significant amount of time at each other's places so you understand how this person is, like on a daily basis. How are they when they get up in the morning? How are they in the evening? How are they? If you like to be clean and this person is junky, do you want to find that out after you get married and now you have to compromise or whatever? And there's something that eats you alive and drives you crazy. Let's say you have OCD and you didn't know this beforehand. Now you're married and now you're like, shit, I can't deal with this. Well, shit, you should have figured that out before you got married. These are things you should have learned and figured out. But a lot of people don't understand, man.
I've only known, not myself personally. I know only one time I was on YouTube and there was a family like that, man. You guys go on YouTube and you look up, one thing, and the next thing you know, all these other shows on the right hand side.
Oh, yeah.
So I clicked on one of them like that, and there was a guy. What's crazy is a guy was OCD. a neat freak and the woman was a junkie. And it was
Oh,
like,
boy.
and he made that mistake. It was a couple, man. They in the mid to low 40s. And he made that mistake. He said because I loved her so dearly, I could not let her go. We both still wanted to have a family together. We had to mess around and sell the house we hadn't even owned for quite a year yet and buy a big duplex.
Right.
I was like, now that is a man who's not that's real love right there, because he realized it, and he tried to stick to the basics, but they didn't work out. And yeah, he had OCD, and it was like he just said, listen, we sold the house, we agreed we're going to buy a duplex, and be right there for each other as well. And here we are today. That was kind of fast forward. That's the end of his story. Here we are today, and they had a nice duplex too, 3-story. So it was like, but that is real love, because you have a lot of people today. They'll call me about this and that, and I mean, if I can't answer somebody's question, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you I can't help you. I'm not going
Right.
to. I'm gonna tell you what sounds good, because when I realize when people hear what sounds good to them, it's not always in their favor. But that was something I probably would have suggested that he did. I mean, I don't even know who the heck he was. He was somebody on YouTube. But if couples are like that, and you say for better or for worse, I do, then you should be a man and a woman of your word for better or for worse that you do. And you do apply, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's the reality of it, right? I mean, regardless of how you feel about the institution of marriage, if you are going to make that that commitment, honor that commitment or get out of the relationship.
Yep.
That's the way I see it, right? Get out of the relationship, move on, keep it moving. And it is hard. I mean, I get it. It is hard, definitely, especially when you have kids and there's a lot of other things taking place and going on, but I think it saves a lot of people a lot of heartache and grief, and saves a lot of emotional trauma, especially for these soft dudes out here. saves a lot of emotional drama. But all jokes aside, though, I mean, it's serious, right? I mean, I think the biggest thing that hurts relationships today is, I think one of the biggest things, which this is a completely different show. We'll get on our next topic in a minute, but social media has played a detrimental role, I think, in relationships for various reasons. We won't go into those reasons. We will talk about that topic next show. But I think it does play a huge role today in relationships.
And you know
what? If you allow it.
Yeah, Sam, you were right. And there's a lot of people who agree with that, because I'll read comments. I'll even hear people in the public, here and there talk about it, and they're like, there's too many options. And a lot of people, the ones who are best about doing this are a lot of celebrities, because that's the way they grow up living, is they can't put too much of their information out there, because they're not trying to be talked about. They're not trying to be picked at. They're not trying to have people from all angles come in their relationship and try to say, hey, you shouldn't take this, you shouldn't do that, blah, blah. And so they've learned to keep a lot of stuff off social media. Just keep a lot of stuff to yourself. But when a lot of people who they have so many options, they choose not to know any better, they'll do that. And sometimes they don't have to mention their spouse. They'll mention, hey, what should a woman do with a man who doesn't make as much money as his woman? But I mean, that's the way her relationship is. She didn't mention herself or her man. She just put it out there. And then she'll buy into all the BS. Well, not all, but a lot of the BS that people post. Like, kick his butt to the curb. Oh, let him go. Oh, do this, do that. Okay, but he's a good, respectful man who just got hit by life, got laid off a job, and is not as motivated. But she's buying into all the comments.
Right.
That kind of stuff is where people just lose it.
Yeah, it's wild, man. So let's let's jump right into this next topic. Let's see. Before we do, we'll go ahead and do a little animation here. Hey, like Bruce said earlier, hey, like, share, subscribe, and comment. You can check us out on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. What else? All the other social media platforms. Check us out. Chaos Conversation or Chaos Convo 01. We're there. Twitter. Forgot about Twitter. That's Chaos Convo 01 on Twitter. But you can check us out on all those platforms. Remember, as we live stream, and it shows live on Facebook. But as soon as it ends, we'll throw some edits on that. You can rewatch the stream on Facebook, but then you can also within 24 hours, we usually have it up on YouTube, and we try to create little clips and interviews and things like that. Especially if Bruce is out in the public and people come up to him. We try to do those little interviews and put those on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, continue to check those out.
If you guys have a topic you guys want us to touch on, man, hey, let us know. Let us know, because I mean, 2 minutes perspective, I mean, is it may be opinionated to some of y'all. It's not everything we say is gonna be 1,000% fact or 1,000% truth, because everybody's situations are different. But when we ain't gonna try and tell you that's gonna start no drama. We ain't gonna tell you nothing that's gonna, kill your relationship and things. And because I mean, the advice I've been given since college, because all 4 of my papers, English papers, were based on relationships. And so this is way before social media got big. I was emailing my tail off, man. And this is back when AOL CDs won't come through the mail no more, but they were still, Google wasn't as big, the internet wasn't as big as it is now. And I had to do face-to-face. I had to meet people. I had to walk around the mall with a daggum legal pad, man, and take notes for my next paper and stuff like that. And my papers on relationships were the ones that got shared. They got shared with about 4 or 5 other English teachers. And they were all like, yeah. Oh, yeah, because the pages, I'll never forget, pages had to be a 5-page. Mine was 7 or 8. Pages had to be a 10-page paper. Mine was at least 12 to 15. It was like I always because I didn't realize how many people of different cultures, races, ages love talking about relationships. I didn't realize it. And that's when that's when I overcame my shyness of approaching people. So, I mean, yeah, it's that's what life is about, relationship. You hear me say it all the time. It's not what you know, is who you know. Let's go on to this next topic. Mike. This is all right.
Next topic. Let's roll with it. So we had a person that did reach out and comment. They didn't specify if this was their situation, but they did bring up the topic of plastic surgeries and relationship. And should, more and more guys are getting plastic surgery these days, but I think it's a little lighter, like Botox or, people are doing those, what do you call it?
What?
They remove like fat from their stomach and like put them in their pecs. They're trying to have bigger chest. It's wild. It's some wild stuff. Or just people just doing the removing fat from their stomach, and throwing it away. Guys may not put it somewhere else, but they, like females, maybe they put it in their quads or something. But females statistically are having more, and I won't even just say plastic surgery, because plastic surgery means you're going under the knife doing things, but I'll just say cosmetic things done to them. Females typically do more. But when it comes to those things, like serious things, do you think that, and this is for people that are married,
okay,
do you feel like the person that's getting the surgery, should speak to and have a conversation with their spouse about what they're having done, and engage the opinion of their spouse and see how they feel?
Now, I listened real hard to what you just said, and that was for their opinion, because it's really the other person's body. It's really the woman's body, which we're going to speak of, right? Now,
right.
One thing the husband, I can say the man, one thing the husbands, y'all got to take in consideration is what makes her comfortable. What gives her the confidence? What gives, and she's being respectful enough of you. So that's the first sign, is always respect. Just because she's coming to share this with you, and you might be against it. Like when you hug her at night, you might like feel on some of that baby fat. Okay. If you do, then you better bring that to her attention. But if it's killing her confidence of who she is, if it's not making her feel good, it's her body. Now, she was respectful enough to come bring it to your attention.
Right.
But now, don't lose none of that baby fat, because doing this. I like, it makes me go this way. I'm like, okay, dude, but it kills me though. Okay, then you got to be husbands. You got to be considerate enough of how it's making her feel. Now, if she come talking to you crazy that she want to do something because, hey, daggum, Tyra Banks or daggum Beyonce do that, then that's totally different. But when it's about, that's what you got is communicate with respect, and also, talk to each other. And, I feel that she should, because if she doesn't talk to her husband about doing some plastic surgery to herself, she's going to wonder, why is he not hugging me as much? Why is he just giving me one little peck on the cheek and walking away? Why is he tripping? So, and don't forget, a marriage is two, it's not just one. So I feel that she should speak with her husband about it. Whether he says yay or nay, still speak to him about it though.
Yeah, I agree. You may agree to disagree, but that's a different conversation. I think you should at least have that initial conversation, even if it's just for safety purposes, right? If you're going and having plastic surgery or some other thing, it shouldn't just be a surprise to your significant other. You know, you've had that surgery and then you got a cab coming home, and then let's say something happens, right? Let's say they have a bad reaction. We've all heard those horror stories where people have, you know, they went a cheap path and something happened and they got sick or they had a reaction, they died. And what if your spouse had no clue what was going on? They didn't know that, you know, you were going under the knife to have something done or whatever. You know, I just think it's one of those things you need to have a conversation with your significant other to gauge your opinion. Because like you said, what if you completely disagree on what is happening? Now that's going to lead to another conversation or a different conversation. Or do you even want to be together because this person doesn't support what you're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm. And one other thing I'll tell you is I've known a woman who had surgery done, and she used to be a bit on the heavy set end. And then she had surgery done, and her man liked to feel on her because she was thick, but she wanted to get smaller. Okay. But him, he liked the way he felt. He liked to rub on her, you know, and she liked she liked being, you know, touched, but she didn't want to be that weight anymore. And it was because her grandson was like, "You're kind of big, Ma." And
oh man,
that's what influenced her to go have surgery done. What's it called? I think when you start to lose weight because they you can't eat as much. What is that called?
There's various ones, but some of them are like stomach staples. Some do where they like tie off your stomach. But essentially what they're doing is making your stomach smaller so you can't eat as much and drink as much.
Yeah. So that's the surgery she had done. And then next thing I know, she can't eat as much and everybody sees it. And the husband's like, "Hey man, you know, you're not even going to the gym. You know what happens?" Like, you know, I had surgery. And it freaked her husband out. And then next thing you know, but what influenced her was her grandchild.
Right.
You know, they would go out to eat and she would take 2 bites and be like, "I'm full." And he would be like, according to what she told, it would surprise him that she didn't eat that much. And so finally, you know, when she told him, it was a bit late because she had already lost enough weight, and he didn't cheat, but he kind of did what I call put her on suspension. And I'm like, okay, like he didn't barely even touch her in bed when they went to bed at night. They stayed married, but stuff like that. And the next thing you know, what really did it for her was she wasn't quite anorexic, but she would fall out. She would fall out.
Oh, you mean like she did not have enough energy?
Oh yeah, protein or vitamins, whatever. But she didn't have enough of it, and she would fall out. And it was I think she told me around the second or third time she fell out that he was like, "Look, we got to sit down and talk about this because it's not just affecting you, it's affecting me too."
Okay.
Now, luckily, he was big enough to pick her up each time, but the thing that scared him most was, what if you do that and I'm not around?
Exactly. So that goes back to my point where somebody could get sick and the other person doesn't know, and you're not keeping them in the loop, you know, and things like that can happen.
So that's why you hear me say that when you're married, speaking to your spouse about having this done, having that done is a factor, because don't forget, it takes, you know, it's 2 of y'all. It's 2 of y'all as one. It's not just one of you all. I know you guys are probably a team, and there's no I in team, and I am aware there is an M-E, me, but that's not who it's all about. So that's why you talk to your spouse. Again, I'm not even married, but that's why I would suggest you talk to your spouse when you're going to have any kind of surgery done, because if it affects him in the future or her in the future, you know, your mate, your spouse should be aware of it. They should be like, "Okay, this is why it's happening to you." Okay, you know, you ain't on no drugs, you ain't high, you ain't drunk. It's the surgery. Oh, okay, cool. You know, I can live with that. Yeah, that's why you hear me say, talk to your spouse about it.
Yeah.
Am I lying, Sam?
No, I mean, you're definitely right. I mean, I can't I can't argue with that too much, you know.
Oh, now, man, it would kill me. See, if I was married, and my wife told me she didn't tell me she had surgery done. And I kept seeing her fall out. I'm like, man, what's going on? Who, what happened? I wouldn't freak out. I'd be like, I would ask some questions, deep questions, though. I'm like, did you mean buy you a gun or something? I mean, what? It would worry the hell out of me. And so,
Wow.
outside of respect, communication is key in any relationship, no matter how you look at it. Trust and believe. Trust and believe.
Crazy.
Yeah, I've known a couple of women who they have surgery done, and sometimes they get it done because their husbands like it. Now,
Right.
hey, again, don't try to fake too much of who you are. Ladies, if you're comfortable as a wife, the size you are, then don't try to do too much based on what your age is also, because sometimes younger women, they can get away with a little bit more than older women can based on the age factor. But don't try to change yourself too much just to, for your husband. Let's say he likes, I don't know, a slim woman. Okay. Then if you decide you want to go to, so I'll ask him, hey, well, honey, can we get a membership together? And see if he's willing to help you engage in your own rescue. You ain't got to say you want to lose weight for him, but if you hear him keep saying that, I won't know why. Because normally by the time you date and commit to him for so long, normally he would tell you something like that. You would know something like that. But let's say sometimes men change, women change, or whatever. Or you might, because I've known a wife, I'm only going to give her first name. I ain't going to give her last name. She's still married to this day too, but she would do stuff like hear her and her husband would go to the movies, and she would hear small stuff that her husband would say about, damn, she look, fine as I don't know what, like that. And he would hear her that this is a movie now. This is a movie. So she would hear that kind of stuff, and then she would try to do it behind his back. Like, honey, why aren't you home yet? Oh, I'm taking care of something. So I'm like, nah, woman. I said, you wrong for that. You wrong. You got to tell him where you at. You got to tell him, you ain't got to tell him why. You just got to tell him where you at. You got to tell him you're trying to get fit for him. You can say something like, hey, I'm just trying to stay, healthy. I'm trying to, lose pounds for the summer or something. But I don't want him to know I'm doing it for him. And I'm like, okay, listen. Find the reason. I had to tell her like this. I said, find a reason outside of wanting to, because he is your husband, outside of wanting to get fit for him, find another reason to do it for yourself. That way you know you're not lying to him if he calls and asks you something like that. Like, where you at now?
Right.
So you got to find. I told people like Crystal, you got to find a reason that's not lying to your spouse if you want to, change something with yourself. And you don't, let's say you want to surprise your spouse, but again, I would. In her case, we hadn't talked about it that deep, but she just brought it to my attention, in a regular conversation. That's what her husband would do. He would see stuff in movies and TV or around him and be like, hey, he liked this on this woman or something. And it's like, hey, I like the way she smiled. Like, okay, dude. And I was like, wow. Hey, Crystal, like, you cannot try to be a superwoman to be everything he liked. That ain't gonna work. Okay, you are only 5'2". You gonna stay 5'2", and I don't care if you put some heels on and take them off. You still gonna be 5'2". Damn it. So it was like, but she just kept trying to. And we talked about it. That's trying to change yourself too much for somebody, even though it is her husband. So
yeah, like you said, you got to be true to yourself. With within a certain extent. I still think you should be true to yourself, right? And you got to be happy. And sometimes I think people, like you said, people try to change who they are to fit a relationship. And the reality is you should never do that, because in the long run, it's never going to work out. 99% of the time, it's not going to work out. You need to be who you are. If the person you're with or dating, etc., can't handle that, I don't care how pretty they are. I don't care how handsome they are. I don't care how much they check off all these boxes. They can check off all those boxes all they want. But if you are not true to yourself with who you are, you're living, not only are you portraying a lie to them, you're lying to yourself. And guess what? At the end of the day, there's going to be a reckoning. And then you're going to have to come to have a conversation with yourself. And you're probably not going to be happy, because now you're doing all these things that really aren't it's not who you are, and
Yeah.
you did them to kind of get into a relationship or to keep that relationship going, and now you're unhappy, you know. And a lot of times, I mean, I've seen that more times than I can count, dude. More times than I can count. And to talk to, it doesn't matter if it's male or female. You see people do it all the time.
Yeah, and one of the things out there I can tell y'all is this: when you want to do something for somebody, it's sort of like me. I'll use myself for this example. When I was committed to this young lady, there were things I was willing to change. Like I used to wear back in 2000, 2005, 6, from 2000 like 2008. Sometimes I would wear baggy jeans like heck. Now I wouldn't sag, but I would hear and finally, and it was like, you know what, man? What are the styles out here that fits me as a human being and a character? And it just so happens the young lady I was dating, she was like, you know, I listened to her. She's like, okay, well, you can find jeans that they want to do. You can find jeans that fit, but they're not too tight. I ain't talking about them daggone Pee Wee Herman jeans either, man. It's out right now. It was back. So I'm like, all right, I'll tell you what. So me and her went out one day. We went out shopping, and you know, I bought her some, and I bought me some. She's like, all right, you know how these fit? We think then. How about how these look with tens? How you look with Air Force Ones? How you look with with whatever two shoes that won't ever lose style. But so it's like I wanted to make a shifting in my dress code. I used to wear shirt. I used to wear large all the time. Now after that time, it was like I started wearing shirts that were more that fit me more, that didn't sag. And it's like, hey, it didn't change me because I was willing to. You know what I mean? I wanted to in a way. I just didn't know what style to pick. I wasn't gonna do no sagging. I wasn't gonna do no daggum crisscross back in the '90s. I wasn't gonna do no daggum, Pee Wee Herman jeans that's going on now. So I let her know that. It's like, all right, help you find a style like that. You know what I mean? Let me help you find, what's out there. So
you still rocking that crisscross.
Get the heck out of here, man. That mess is older than you are, Sam. Shut up. So it's like that kind of mess right there.
Crisscross was like 94, 95.
94. But
94 maybe.
Yeah. So my whole point though is you guys have to be willing to want to make some changes. Now, every change that your spouse is going to want you to make, if it don't fit you, let them know. That's all I can tell you. But if you're like me and you're willing to and you want to, you just don't know what's out there. Like, hey, some people to this day surprise me. Some people still know how to get a podcast started. They want to, they don't mind. They just don't know how to get it started. So I mean, some things are out there. Some people just don't know. Hey, they don't always want to be. They don't always want to be in with a certain style. Like I know certain people who just don't like tattoos. Okay, fine, that's fine, but don't try to get no tattoo to please your partner. You have to be willing to get one.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Yeah, that's surgery. I forgot what kind of scanner they have. They can remove it. They don't completely take it away. There's some kind of scanner that can take off the face of the face ink of it, but it still leaves like the design behind. But I mean, like and if you don't like tattoos, like me, I don't have one. But I mean, I thought about getting them. I thought about getting me one or two.
I have quite a few, but I need more. So let's,
Oh yeah, here you go, man. So that's the food. They are.
But hey, we like to. It's about that time, guys. So we want to thank you guys for tuning in today, every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Unless we say otherwise. Sometimes life happens sometimes, and we have to start a little later or choose a different day. But hey, we're agile and we can do that. But hey, check us out on Facebook, Chaos Conversation on YouTube, as well as TikTok. Twitter is Chaos Convo 01. And again, like we said, like, share, comment, and subscribe. We'll have the YouTube. We'll have this up on this video on YouTube, a little editing within 24 hours, and we'll share the link on the Facebook page. So if you were not able to watch the show live today, you still have plenty of opportunity to watch it, and we will share it. We're in various groups that we're in, relationship chat groups. Bruce is in some, I'm in some. So we love to share our videos there and get comments and feedback. And as Bruce said earlier, if you have a question or you have a comment and you don't want to be on the show or type it in the chat, guess what? You can send it to us through Messenger. We see those messages, we get them, we receive them. And if you say, please keep my question anonymous, please say that. Say, please keep my question anonymous. We will not mention your name We'll change the names up if we do that, but we just won't mention the name. We can still get the same question out there, you know.
Oh yeah.
So please continue to tune in, check us out as much as you can, and we would love to maybe even have you join our show one day. So just let us know.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Bruce?
Nah, man. Definitely love relationship, and again, best stop looking.
I like it. There you go. Chaos Conversation. We will see you guys next Tuesday. Peace out.